As of posting this, hopefully it is Monday, and this past weekend, Dave Chappelle hosted and did the opening monologue for Saturday Night Live. This was the first episode of SNL since Joe's out and Trump got in. Did that happen? Did that happen over the weekend? When asked to host SNL, Dave said, "Can you give me the date closest to January 6th? Was it any good? Was it bad? Is Dave back? Did he never leave?" Let's talk about it. We're also going to talk about the importance of the SNL opening monologue generally as a comedy staple, its impact on the scene, what it means for a stand-up and a writer to actually host SNL and do the opening monologue. But first, clearly I'm not in LA. Yeah, I'm still couch surfing a little bit. You guys know me. I thrive when I'm couch surfing. No, I'll be in LA soon. I just had to wait for the dust to settle. Sorry, that was okay. I'm doing the intro! I'm gonna cut it in post. I'm getting options. I'm getting heckled in the video right now, goddammit. And you know what? They're right. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you guys watch Mr. Beast videos? Do I need to have a higher retention mechanism? Let me get some keys to jingle. Where were we? No, I sat down today on Sunday and watched Dave Chappelle's SNL monologue from last night, 2 nights ago, whatever it was for you at home. And I was weary going into it, because Dave's been a bit of a controversial figure as of late for a litany of reasons. One, off the bat, 5 specials in a row. He just really went in on trans people. Interesting choice. 2, behind the scenes, while yes, he's been an activist when it comes to racial issues and most issues related to class, he did get in some hot water for trying to keep low-income housing out of his neighborhood. So I guess outside of Dave just being a bit of a boomer, a lot of a boomer, he is still Dave Chappelle. So I was eagerly awaiting this SNL monologue. Now, the SNL monologues around the election season and the election cycle and a new president coming in is usually, I guess at least in the past few election cycles, I can't speak on behalf of, before 2010's SNL because I didn't really watch it much and I don't keep up with the old shit. But since Clinton lost, it seems like the person to host SNL at or near inauguration time for a new president and give some peace about it is very, very specific, calculated, anticipated. There's a lot of weight to it nowadays, more so than it has in the past. Now, Dave actually did the monologue when Trump got elected the first time, and I remember that being a profound performance. He did say some controversial things. It was somewhat optimistic, which can be controversial, to have an optimistic approach of somebody like Donald Trump. He later walked it back when Joe Biden got elected and they asked for him back. He said, "Oh, I wish I didn't say that shit." And that I also remember being a very impactful monologue. I mean, it's Dave Chappelle. Even Dave Chappelle at his worst is still Dave Chappelle. He's like sex or pizza. Did I say that right? You know the bit where it's like sex is like pizza, even when it's bad, it's still pizza? That's like Dave Chappelle, is what I'm saying. All right, that got clarified for the hecklers. Then stop heckling! And so this is his 3rd time, I believe, hosting SNL pre, post, or during the changing of the hands in the Oval Office. It's kind of a sacred place to put Dave, I feel like Lord Michaels has made the calculation that they want somebody to have an impact, to understand the weight of this moment and to handle it appropriately. And they trust Dave to pretty much go up there and wing it. I don't know this day and age how much Dave writes his stuff ahead of time. Sometimes, I've been told he just goes up there and goes, which is insane. Probably baked his shit the whole time, Dave. And just how wild is it that an institution like Saturday Night Live can just let a comedian have the reins? That was a 17-minute monologue he did. Like the whole first bit of the show is just letting Dave go. And they trust Dave enough to let him go without even vetting the monologue ahead of time, without checking it. They just kind of, let him go. And that is kind of wild, given the history of comedians and writers hosting SNL and doing their opening monologue. Now, usually the monologue is, obviously for a actor, typically, maybe if the musical guest is also hosting. Once in a blue moon, they have a sports person or a politician hosting SNL. And usually the farther away you get from performance art for a host, the worse the monologue is, obviously. Usually comedic actors knock it out of the park. Dramatic actors with hella charisma knock it out of the park. Sometimes dramatic actors that are a little stiff and not used to comedy eat shit. Usually sports people eat shit. Politicians eat shit. Can we clip that? But comedians and writers are what SNL is built on. In fact, some of the only writers who have ever hosted SNL who actually wrote on the show before they got famous enough to host it in their own right, I believe, is just 2 people. I could be wrong. Actually, no, I am wrong. 3 people. John Mulaney, Larry David, Conan O'Brien. If there are more people who used to be writers that later hosted, Sarah Silverman. You see, I don't know. If you know any more, leave them in the comments down below. Now, let me get back to Dave, ADHD brain. No, Dave's monologue from this most recent SNL 2 days ago. He touched on Trump a little bit, being the new president. He touched on the LA wildfires situation. He touched on P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. A lot of Puff Daddy talk. And he tied it together at the end, all of these different subject matters with a through line. You know, there's a theme to what he's doing. Tied together at the end in a bow that felt as profound and optimistic as back in 2016. And I gotta tell you, it was funny. And the interesting thing about it being funny, the subject matter he talked about, you know, he did Trump jokes, you know, that's easy. You know, anybody could do Trump jokes. He did bits about the California wildfires that I thought hit the nail on the head. The subject matter was, you know, you shouldn't just condemn, you know, rich people because their homes got burned down too. You know, these are real people and their real homes got affected, obviously. And the jokes that he made, you know, weren't really at the expense of the people who lost their homes. They were just kind of general wildfire jokes, you know, very tongue-in-cheek. And the way that he was able to make the comparison at the end of his monologue, whether you're in the Palisades or Palestine, you know, have empathy for one another. Fantastic. Amazing. Very, very good pro Jimmy Carter, pro Palestine segment. I was not expecting, you know, new Dave's been a little off on some things lately. But that felt like some good old Dave being on the right side of history, being very pro-Palestine in that regard. Or at least anti-apartheid. At least. Okay. I think his bits on the Puff Daddy situation, which the crux of it was, Dave, all these people that you know, how are you not at these parties too? His punchline was, I guess I'm ugly. And the way that was like the same punchline over and over again, but told with different setups. Like he said he didn't get invited to Hollywood orgies because he looks like a narc. Again, the through line, I think, being the subject matters that he's approaching, whether it's the pop culture, very controversial, very Epstein-esque P. Diddy situation, whether it's something like the California wildfires, whether it's something like Israel-Palestine, whether it's something like Trump. These are very, very, very nuanced, very, very difficult things to talk about. You know, make the wrong move, people get mad at you. You know Dave. Dave's made some missteps, but I don't think so in this performance. You know, not to say that, oh, it's great because I wasn't upset. I think it's great because he tackled the controversial subject matter without upsetting people. That's what makes comedy great, in my opinion. You know, you shouldn't hope that you're going to make the audience upset. You shouldn't revel in the audience being pissed and be like, I'm a great comedian because the audience is mad at me. No, you can tackle the crazy subject matter, you know, but you do run the risk of people getting upset with you. And you're just going to have to take that on the chin, you know, and you can't just be like, you can't get mad at me. I'm Dave Chappelle. No, if you're Dave Chappelle, I shouldn't be mad at you. This harkens back to Anthony Jeselnik's feelings on it. We covered this in my Anthony Jeselnik review, Bones and All. You know, but if you're a comedian, you know, it's your job to do your job without having your client be mad at you for doing your job, you know? So in that regard, do I think Dave's early work is still fantastic? Yes, of course. It holds the fuck up. Especially like early Chappelle Show. Especially his early stand-up. Absolutely. Do I think some of those Netflix specials that came out recently have some wacky bits? Yes, I do. I do not love all of Chappelle's new stuff. However, every single SNL monologue Dave has done, he has knocked out of the park. Did you watch Dave Chappelle's SNL monologue? What'd you think of it? What do you think about Dave Chappelle? What do you think about comedy? I have a comment section. You should talk about comedy in the comment section. The comedy comment section. There an SNL monologue that you think stands out amongst other ones? Norm Macdonald's SNL monologue comes to mind shortly after he was fired. How about when Woody Harrelson went on that weird anti-vax rant? That was fun. Now, if you're a fan of content like this and you want to support me, please consider donating by Patreon or becoming a member. Some of these will come out earlier than others if you're a member or on the Patreon. Also, hopefully soon we can start those Ugly Duck workshops up again if everyone would stop fucking with me. So if you want updates when the Ugly Duck workshops come back, or you want to see videos come out sooner, or if you just like me and want to support me, then you can become a member or join the Patreon, or at the very, very least, if you could, just like and subscribe. all that jazz. I appreciate you.